Well, how you doing, Coach P? It's so good to finally meet you. I've been reviewing a lot of things about your life, especially the area in which have been a coach for a very long time. I don't know how much we can cover or
Mhm.
should cover in regards to that, but you have an incredible history of being a head basketball coach for the women's team in various universities in this country, an incredible successful record of accomplishments, including two appearances at the Olympics, winning gold medals and so on. But so I could go through all that and we could spend probably the next year talking about your history, but I think I rather move to talk about a little the book that you've written, Secret Warriors, which I've read most of it now. I'm about a few pages from the end of it. It seemed to have poured out of you,
Yes.
to
Yeah.
borrow that, and it was rumbling around in you
Mhm.
since you were 39 years old, or give or take, but you had other things going on
Yes.
that delayed going. And I would like to ask you, first of all, what drove you to write this book? What was the primary impetus
Yeah,
for
I
writing
guess
it?
the primary impetus was the fact that it occurred for a long time. You sort of put that dark stuff away. And when I was 39, as you suggest, I thought I would write it after coaching in the national championship of 2005. I thought that that might be a good platform. But again, I was counseled about not doing that and continuing to coach. And I think that that was wonderful advice because I love coaching. And
Yeah.
it would have been an enormous distraction to bring that to any team or program. And so you just sort of put it to the side. I guess the compartmentalization, they may
Yeah.
call it, I don't know. And so,
Yes, we do call it that. In
yeah,
order to function in this modern world, we have to put things in different compartments and then bring them out when we're ready to.
exactly.
And I guess that's what you did,
Mhm.
which must have been not easy to do. I mean, that can cause also a lot of stress to keep compartmentalizing things that go on. One of the areas that I thought I wanted to touch on is I guess you wanted to communicate to the readers of your book something that uh, is very important to you and you felt would be very helpful for other people to read about. Can you, in a nutshell, give me a sense of what that was?
Just the idea of, stories are more important than stigmas, and we must share our stories and tell our stories because we can motivate each other. And there's definitely light after the darkness, and it's very important to me, especially given suicides and people making horrible choices, that we talk about this, but talk about it through stories. And so if my story can help anyone in any way, then it's done its job, and it certainly has been a labor of love.
Okay. So part of the main desire is not only to get your story out from inside you and not compartmentalize it anymore, but also to help other people not put things in dark places where they don't reach it and wind up making decisions about their lives that are very self-destructive. You
Mhm.
would rather them communicate. Am I getting the sense of what you're talking about?
Yes, communicate and trust.
Mhm.
Find the right people. I was so fortunate to have the right doctors and support system that I sought out. And eventually, as you learn in the book, listen to them relative to taking medication and to doing the right things. But a
Yes.
sense of purpose, a sense of shared community, all of these things matter greatly for mental health. And this is for anybody, not just somebody like me with a diagnosis, but anybody at all. And of course, considering the pandemic, very important to what's happening in our world now.
Course. The timeliness of this book is remarkable. One of the things that I was reading about in your book struck me, which was the idea that it takes a community to save people. It takes a group, whether it be a basketball team or whether it be any other community that you belong to, that the ability to connect with others who can share the story that you have, it can help us enormously. The tendency we have is because of mental health being a shameful experience still with many, they tend to hide. And you're bringing it out. You're
Yes,
saying, no, we're not hiding anymore. Let's
I'm not.
come out.
Let's come out with it. And the shame and the blame that can often happen within family structures, which can sometimes take away the very support, because everyone is concerned to the point of, where did this come from? How did this happen? Instead of recognizing that brain health is brain health, and everyone's has a different brain, just like a different heart. And I think we need to take a more scientific approach to it. And also, again, the shared stories and the developing of people's strength relative to the families and the connections and the friendships that can really make a difference.
It really struck me how the players on your team that you coached really came to you and were very supportive of you coming out and winding up telling their story. They didn't run away from you. They stayed right with you. They were an incredible support system. They were one of them. Did you find that, I don't know whether you would say coincidentally or by luck, that you were a basketball coach of young women who loved you, it seemed like, and cared about you so deeply? And I wonder if that helped you.
Oh, without question, that helped me a great deal. And I can't say enough about those women. Not only did they support me, but they gave me my time where I did not come out and go through the whole story with them. I simply couldn't talk about it. We had to forge ahead and move forward. So they allowed me they gave grace to me, where I talked to them about being, having exhaustion and needing help. And I sort of shared the story in a general sense, but their grace and their support is exactly what needs to happen for anyone in these difficult situations. And it can happen if you're reaching out and you're trusting. They taught me how to trust, because initially I was very afraid.
You seem to not only be afraid, you seem to also need to deny it was even happening to you. But finally, the reality broke through with the help of a number of people, including your husband and your children and other people that you knew. But the denial broke down at some point.
Finally, I think as athletes, sometimes we believe our bodies and minds are always in good shape. We work out, we do different things. It took me, as you know, through that book, it took me some time to listen, to really listen. And then when you have a network, it doesn't have to be a big network. I was fortunate, and it can be a small network of people, but that trust element and listening, that's a big part. And that's where I hope to kind of coach up or help other people that may be in a similar circumstance with any kind of mental health issue. Listening is key.
Yeah, well, playing a sport at the level that you did and coaching a sport, it takes a lot of control, I would imagine, in playing the sport well. And there you were in a situation where you felt out of control.
Yeah, it was. Yes, very much so. And it hits you. I mean, it blindsides you in a way that is very difficult to describe, for sure.
Yeah, and your book, like I said, it does a marvelous job. I mean, I almost feel what you were going through in reading the words in your book. It's like I kept wanting to read more. Stay up longer, Paul. Keep reading, and I did. And I do hope and I do believe that people who read your book will get that sense of, like, I get her. I get where she's coming from. I get what she's trying to tell me, and be able to look at themselves.
Yeah, I hope so. And I hope this book is just a start in terms of impact and speaking and doing as many things as possible to use my experience. I feel like I have a great deal, 25 years in the world of bipolar is a lot of experience. And again, I don't limit that to bipolar. Sometimes, you know, the situational depression and other things that are going on, it is what it is. Brain health is brain health. And
Right.
I really hope this is just a start.
Well, I hope so too, and I know you're creating a foundation in some way that has to do with mental health,
Yeah.
and I'd love to hear more about that at some point. To understand how you're going about creating this foundation, how you're reaching out to people.
Mhm.
I assume that it's more than just sports, but it is
Yes.
primarily starting at
Yes, it's going to be quite a project and a new project for me. It's not something I've done before, so I'll be learning as I go. But I've always wanted to, and with my husband and family, it's been something we've talked about. Yes,
I understand that your book is available right now.
it's available. It's pre-orders and comes out February 16th on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. And the pre-orders matter, so I hope people can go on there and get it. It's been exciting, and the more people it can help, the better. And the broader it's received, the better as well. It's sport, yes. Sport is a great metaphor, but hopefully it's a story that can resonate and get the conversation, get the narrative going even further. And coaches too can have these issues.
One last question before we close off today. Do you think there's a lot of people in sports, both on the college and professional level, that are struggling with mental illness in the dark?
Yeah, I think so. I think some of sport, it can really be tough to handle the ups and downs, the highs, the lows, the stressors. I do believe that folks are out there, and I'm not saying that they need to share their story or anything of that matter. Again, if people get a little bit from this story, that's all we can hope for, is to
I
offer.
can't imagine they wouldn't get a lot from that story. So I look forward to talking with you in the future about this, if you're up for it. I'd love to. There's so many pieces of this book that we can't touch today, but I would love to be able to talk in the
That'd be great.
future.
That'd be great. Thank you, Dr. Paul. That'll be wonderful.
Okay, well, you have a great day and enjoy your ESPN.
Thank you.
That's an exciting moment.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I appreciate it and really look forward to working with you all.
Take care of yourself.